Once you've found your items, you still have to price them. Today we're going to talk about the best, free, and the cheapest ways to research and come up with an honest and correct price for your items. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to talk about pricing your items. Once you find them, you have to price them, and for many people it's far easier to find many things than it is to actually price them. There's simple, easy ways to price most anything out there. Even when you're into some niches and some specific items, there's price guides online for, so many different niches. Now, one other thing I would recommend is if you're going to list something, say, specifically on eBay, I would honestly use eBay's pricing for the most part. Not on everything, but for the most part. Now, we're going to hop over now and give you some of the top ones that I personally use, some of the ones I've used for many, many years. Now, the number one place to look up the prices for items you're going to sell on eBay is clearly eBay. Now, you can look it up through completed listings for the last 3 months and look at all the listings, but if you just go to Terapeak, and it should be included with most store levels, if you don't have a store and it's only a $5, $6 for a starter store to get Terapeak, in my opinion, it would truthfully be worth it. I don't have any stake in the game, but it would be worth it just for this tool because we use it quite often for many of our items. It's the simplest way to look up something. I don't usually go to completed listings because if I go to Terapeak, I'm going to see all the completed listings as well as those that are older than 3 months. You can look at a year's worth on here. Now, eBay's added some features and taken away some features, so you got to kind of know what you're looking at here by the title and such forth, because if the item is older than 3 months, you can't look at the listing anymore. I don't know if eBay sells it or there's another level of Terapeak. Terapeak used to be a secondary service from some other company. eBay bought it and integrated it in here. So again, anything that's not highlighted in blue, you can't look at the actual listing. They used to have an option where you could blow up the image by hovering over it. They took that away too. No idea why, but it was a good feature. So this one's within the last 90 days. Again, this is why I don't go to completed listings, because most all of them are going to show up in Terapeak. This would show up in completed listings as well. I can look at it through Terapeak just as easily as I can look through it at completed listings if I want. Right-click, open it up, and see what's sold up here. So nice lot of Christmas cards. Now, one other thing you have to consider, too, when you're on Terapeak is that you only can look up so many items in a given time frame when you're on here. I think it's like 200 a day or something like that. Now, one thing to consider, too, when you're on here looking up stuff, with the counts that you're only allowed to look up so many items a day, if you type in, say, Christmas and hit search, it's going to cost you a search. If you realize that you need to type in something else or you want to pick a specific category, again, the same search, it's going to count towards another one of your searches. So if you're bopping around from place to place, you could use up like half of your searches just on a few items from bouncing them around and stuff. So select a different category. Pick the specific category that you want to look up your items in. This is the best bet. It'll save you some time. We're going to pick postcards. Again, as specific as possible. We're just going to pick the postcard category. I'll apply it, and if I'm going to be looking up a couple hundred postcards, I'll come over to the right and lock selected filters. So that'll tie it, keep it into the postcard category. So I won't be killing every time if it bounces around. Now, one other thing, once you're in a specific category like postcards, I'm looking for postcards, I can come in here and remove the word postcard, and I'll get a different total result because in some cases, the results in eBay will show up differently if you remove certain words. You can tie it to the category this way as well easily. We'll search one more time just to give you an idea here. It's always best to pick a category before you ever do your search as well. That way it's not going to be billed as a search in your limits. So again, keep that in mind. It does work fairly well as long as, again, you can see the images. Now, since they don't offer the hover-overs where you can enlarge the image, I usually just enlarge my screen from the browser to like 250%, and you'll be able to at least see what this is. Again, just enlarging your image, your screen itself, a couple 100% up, and it will be able to be seen on all these here. So anyway, that's all there really is to this. This is honestly the best means, the best way, and again, it's included with most stores out there. Now, on that same note is Worth Point. Worth Point has nothing to do with eBay specifically. They show a large amount of listings, sold prices. Now, it's a paid service. I don't know what the fees are. They offer a free trial. It's up to you. I don't get anything if you use it. I have no affiliation with Worth Point at all. I have never had a paid account in more than 20 years of doing reselling. I don't need it personally, but some people may. It may help if I was selling different items. I'm not saying it won't help you. I just can't tell you either way. It depends on what you're selling and what type of information they have. I've heard some people say it's great. Large amounts that say they don't get much out of it, it doesn't have enough information, or there's too much other junk that clutters up their research. It does have a wide variety of items. A lot of the items that we sell, or just that you see here, you can find prices in other places as well. You can look them up on private sites, individual sites, toy sites, or magazine sites, comic sites, stamp sites. There's many sites that sell a lot of these items. And if I'm going to sell on a specific site, I usually try to go to that site and see what other people are selling the same item for. And then I judge it from there. Again, one site you may get more money out of an item than you would from a different site. You could have the same item on 3 different sites and have 3 different prices for each one of those items. Some sites you'll have more visibility, like let's say you're selling niche items like postage stamps like they show down here, the Cayman Island stamps here. In some cases, one site tied to that specific niche, like Del Camps or Hip Stamp, you might do better on those sites because those sites are just for people who want stamps and they're diehard collectors. So there is some differences here. But if you're selling on a specific site, I would look at the prices from that site. Now, some people will go to very specific sites for prices on very specific items like niches, like this one here. This is Pop Psych. Again, I have no relationship with Pop Psych whatsoever. You can get so many a day for free, like a dozen or something, free searches. So you can find some things. Now, if you've got to recategorize one item several different ways, each time you click search, it's going to cut off one of those free searches you get on a specific day. So keep that in mind. Get your title that you're going to search for on these types of places straight the first time. I pay for this site here. You can pay 6 months in advance. This is a foreign site. I believe it's from Switzerland or it's Swiss in general, I guess I should say. I've never had an issue with them. You can pay through PayPal and the whole works. We've found it very useful. If you end up running into a lot of rare items, the rarer the item, the more chance you have of it not showing up in sold listings on eBay. It may have sold only once every year or two. So eBay's, like on Terapeak, you can only look at the last year, one single year's worth of data. So if the last one sold 2 years ago, you won't know that. But unless you have access to the information, you can't really effectively price a lot of items in niches. So on this side here, you'd just be able to type in whatever you want in search terms and look it up. Again, because eBay doesn't have all that data. You could even use another site for records, specifically Discogs. I've talked about it. I've got videos on there. You can search my videos if you want to know any more about that site. Like, for example, if I'm going to sell a record that's fairly rare, I'm going to use 3 different places for that same record. I'm going to first look at eBay, see if there's any recent ones selling. Second, I'll pop over to Pop Psych and see what happens there. And as well, if I don't have enough information, then I will go to Discogs and take a look on Discogs. Discogs you can sell on, you can check prices and the whole works. You can see what the average price is for a lot of different items. Now there's many other sites. I'm just showing you one specific example here. There are sites that will price cigar labels for you. There's sites that will price trading cards. There's sites that will give rarity. There's sites for Smurfs, Star Wars figures, action figures in general, vintage toys in general. There's some that cover specific like VHS tapes, Laserdisc collector sites, railroad-related items you can price online, dishes and things along that line as well. You name it, there's probably a site out there that will price it for you or give you a good idea. You might have to spend some time researching it, but there are a ton of small niche sites out there that will help you price niche items. Now there's still yet another option for some items that you get, and it's an option we've taken advantage of many times. You can actually contact an auction house if it's something really good and have them auction it off for you. Now, why might that be a super thing? Why would that even be practical? Why would you get more money from something doing it that way? When a big auction house does something, everything is checked for authenticity and make sure it's valid and the whole works. They also advertise massively ahead of time. So you're not just getting the amount of people that are online in a week's time or something. You're getting people that know about this and are high-end collectors and will fight over certain items. So the prices in many cases can go for a lot more money on a specific auction site, not necessarily just the one we're looking at here, which is Heritage, but on Sotheby's or Skinner or any of the other ones. Many people have a preference. I personally recommend to anybody who gets or asks me questions on which auction site would be Heritage. Heritage Auctions, only because everybody I've ever sent there was very happy with the experience. They felt like they were treated nicely. Now, I've only dealt with some of the other ones on a very small basis, so I don't have a way to say that they're bad or worse or whichever the case may be. I personally just recommend the one that I actually have not had any issues with and that others say the same thing, which, again, Heritage. So tons of them out there. You can use any one that you feel comfortable with. Again, I don't have any connection with these folks at all, but overall, I send people to places like this for certain items. You will do far better because they're very specific types of auctions. They'll have one that's just for anime, one just for comics, one just for records, one for Americana and political items, and that's all they sell. So when someone's going there, it's a ton of people in that same field, so it'll create a bidding war in some cases with some items because all the high rollers are there. They want the items. Your item doesn't have to be worth $1 million. $1,000 item, $500 item, even in some cases they will take. It just depends on the auction house and how desirable the items are. So there are many different options for getting prices, and if you don't want to mess with getting prices, there's options to sell it differently. Don't just assume you have to price it and sell it on eBay or something. You can just email places like this. They have a contact us option up here at the top. If it's something good, they're going to tell you. They've got agents all over the place, from what I understand. They do respond to people when it's something that they can profit from and help you make a bigger profit too. And again, not just Heritage, any of the other ones. Christie's, Sotheby's, Skinner. There's many different ones that are smaller and mid-range as well that you can do fairly good at also. So it doesn't just have to be you pricing everything. Many cases, it's not worth me worrying about pricing it. If I send it to a big auction house, I don't have to worry about any of the other aspects of it. The sale goes through, they take their commission just like eBay would, and I'm done. Usually their commission's a little higher than it would be if you, say, listed on eBay, but again, the prices are usually more than the difference between those. So you usually come out ahead in some of the rarer items by sending them to a higher-end auction, as opposed to auctioning them off yourself. Well, there we have it. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Throughout time, people have asked, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Maybe it was a Manglore, like Manglore Demon. You can pretend to hatch Manglore Dragon and Manglizard, too, each sold separately in a make-believe egg. You can stretch them, squash them, take them apart. They'll return almost like new to their original forms. So if you want to hatch up some fun, you can crack open a Manglore. The Manglores, Manglore Demon, Manglore Dragon, and Manglizard, each sold separately from Ideal.